right off the bat, I have a question that's like a little bit loaded, but I loved on your website. You talked about how, so many entrepreneurs, they feel like, they're not enough. They don't know if they can accomplish their dreams. And you mentioned that you were able to push through that. So how did you get to that place of realizing you're enough and you can accomplish all of your dreams?
Ooh, that is a big one.
Mm.
I think I say like I was crazy enough to like think I could do it. And I think, you do have to believe in yourself, or at least believe that you have something to offer, or that, it'll work out. And like, because I honestly believe that if you can have that bit of belief and just not give up, that the one key to success is just to not give up, just to keep trying. And even if it seems crazy, even if nobody in your circle is like supporting you, I think if you can have that faith in self, then you're going to be good. Just don't give up. And, even if it seems like you say it out loud, like, oh, I want to work for myself and I want to do this, and it sounds crazy because of where you are right now, that crazy fever dream of like freedom can become your reality. Like I 100% believe that.
Oh, I love that. So it's like having a dream that's bigger than yourself that you are pushing towards.
Yeah. And if it seems crazy and you feel scared, then guess what? You're on the right track.
Oh, I love that. You're a real trailblazer. So what led you to start your company? It's all about you, boo.
So it's all you boo. It was a random saying. So, like I did the whole thing. Like I was in grad school, I was in university for like 8 years. And then like I finally got a job, and then it was like so disappointing. I was like, wow, this is it. like really, I spent all that time working for this just to be stuck in traffic for 5 years of my life. Like I did the math, right? Like driving back and forth, average commute, hour and a half in Toronto times like 40 years. And I'm like, that's like 5 years of my life. So I'm like, what if I just take those 5 years and invest it into something that, like, this is where the insanity comes in, right? Like, who's like, I'm just going to take those 5 years and I'll make a business and I'll figure it out. And then I'll never have to be stuck in traffic again. These are the things that led to it, like being disappointed by the 9 to 5, wanting more, and just being crazy enough to try. And I started talking to friends, and I asked them 2 questions. And these are questions I encourage everyone to ask themselves. 1, are you happy? And 2, do you feel successful? Because a lot of people have jobs that objectively, like from the outside looking in, people would be like, oh, you're doing great. You're checking all the boxes, right? Look at you with your job and your pension. Oh, right? Your car, your dog, your house, your spouse, whatever, right? But then do you feel that? Or is there still something that is like unfulfilled? And it was like asking those questions where I came up with that saying. I found that was something I kept saying. Like, it's not those external things, it's like you, right? And so that's where I started. My first official blog post was just me ranting about like hating the 9 to 5 life. And it just like kind of morphed into talking about these things that I was, discovering about myself, and like these issues of like motivation, and what does it mean to slay your goals, right? Like, how do you have confidence? Like, what are all these problems that like my head is like telling me like I can't do this, but like here I am trying to do it. Like, how do I deal with that? So that's where I started.
Wow, that's incredible. You're so charismatic too. It's like you're really made for this.
Apparently.
I love it. And also, this is just a side note, but I love your blog and all of the diversity of how many different topics and articles you have. I think that's
It's
really
like
cool.
out of control, I feel like. I'm like, oh, I should have niched down, but I'm like, no, let's talk money. Let's talk business. Let's talk confidence. You like quotes? I got them for you. Like, let's just talk about all these things, right?
Yeah.
Because it isn't just one thing, like I think if you want to be successful at this, one thing that has really come to mind is that like starting a business is a journey of like personal development, and like it touches every area of your life. Like you got blocks about money, you're going to have to face that. You've confidence issues, you're going to have to overcome that. Like there's no, it affects your relationships with people. There's no part of your life that is like left untouched, right? So how can I not talk about everything,
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love how open you are too. And I mean, not a lot of people are brave enough to do that because so many people niche down, but I feel like that gives you so many different avenues and it allows you to have such a like broader message too to people. So I think that's really cool. So when starting a new business, what mistakes do you see people make the most?
Ooh, when starting a new business. Yeah, I would say that because so the second business I started was my Pinterest coaching business. And I would say that from that perspective is seeing that one mistake is giving up. A second mistake is trying to do everything like at the same time and not realizing that there are like stages to this journey, right? So I was joking with my friend about like how it's like there's like the year of the blog, there's like the year of like video, the year of launching products, and like as if it's almost like this calendar for online marketing, and you can't do everything at once. And I think that leads to you're overwhelmed because everyone is telling you, oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to be on Instagram. No, you need to do TikTok. No, you need to be on Pinterest. You really do need to be on Pinterest. No, you need a YouTube channel. Oh, launch a course, launch a membership, have a summit. And it's like, you cannot do all the things at once, nor should you. You just got to know what stage you're in. And maybe you're in the content creation stage. Maybe you're in the launching stage. Maybe you're in the marketing and publicity stage. But like all those stages, they don't happen at the same time. And I think that a big mistake is trying to be everything, or even like trying to or seeing like where someone is and letting that discourage you is also a big mistake, right? Like don't compare your day to my day or where I am to where you are, because I'm not comparing myself to where all these big names are, because that's their journey and I am where I am now and I'm good with that. And I think even just realizing that you don't need to be the first, you don't need to be the best, you don't need to be the fastest, you just need to keep going, right? And whenever you get there, you get there. So I think those are like a few things that I've seen mistakes that people make.
Well, that is really, really good advice. I love that. I loved what you said too. It's like the biggest mistake is just giving up. Like, and that is, and all of the interviews that I've done, so many entrepreneurs say that they're like, nobody's good in the beginning. Nobody has it figured out in the beginning. You just keep trying and trying until you slowly figure it out.
Yeah, it's true. Like, I know that's not the answer you want. I know like you want it to be like this, right? Like, oh my gosh, 6 figures or whatever, right? But sorry, friend, that's not how it works. No one is an overnight success. It might just be that you just heard about them, but they've been like hustling for years,
Absolutely. That's a great point. So on your website, I mean, I mentioned this earlier, but you described feeling stuck and overwhelmed in the beginning. So why were you feeling that way?
Yeah, it's because I think it goes back to what I said, where everyone is telling you what to do. Like there is no lack of ideas on how to start or grow a business, right? If anything, there's too many ideas and too many ways to grow. And you're just trying to check every box because you think, oh, that's the way to be successful. Or even just spending all your time reading, going to webinars, like in this like hungry hippo phase where it's like, I just need to consume. And like, you think that the solution is like in someone else, like someone else has the solution. But if you really just like figure out your unique way of whether it's expressing yourself or what your really good at? Like, what are your strengths? What strategies like speak to you the most, or are you most comfortable with? And if you can kind of figure out what your, like, it's all you, boo, like what your unique flavor secret sauce is, then I think, you know, that's how you deal with the overwhelm. And I think part of that is even like, okay, finding your voice, finding your niche, like finding who you're helping or who you're speaking to. And I think once I figured that out, once you figure that out, it's easier to kind of like not hear the like 10 million voices telling you what should be important and what you should be working on. And also like, it's like the pressures of, oh, I should be here already, right? Like, I think, you know, I think of some friends who say like, oh, I've been doing this for 4 years, I should be here. And it's like those expectations. And I think we have to kind of like guard ourselves and not drink the like Kool-Aid of like, you can make this much in 5 days. Like, really? Can you? Like, you know, just be realistic with yourself and like have patience and just keep the faith that like, if I keep going, I'm going to get better at this. I can continue learning and I will do this. Like I said, I remind myself, I don't need to be first. I don't need to be best. I don't need to be the fastest, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop. You know, this is not the Olympics.
Oh, that is so good. That's incredible. So how did you start to drown out everybody's voices and just really start focusing on what direction you were wanting to go in?
Yeah, I think ironically, part of that might have been like Pinterest, because I realized, oh, you know, like the little bit of energy I'm putting into this, it's working. So why the heck am I wasting time on like all this other stuff? You know, it just doesn't make sense, right? You just need one thing and like do that thing really well, you know, and it can make a huge difference. And then once you have that mischief managed and it's not consuming you, then you can add on something else. But so I think that's kind of key, is like figuring out, okay, what is actually getting results? We should all ask ourselves that. And can you double, triple, or quadruple down on that to speed up that growth, you know?
Yeah, that's great. I love that. What good, like practical advice. Like, you know, just see what's working and put a little bit more energy into that and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you first hear about Tailwind?
I've been using it for like 4 or maybe even longer. So I'm like, how did I hear about Tailwind? Honestly, it was probably around the same time, because like I remember it was like I would read these blog posts and people would be like, oh my gosh, I get my traffic from Pinterest, right? And then I think like the following breath was always schedule your pins with Tailwind. Like, so it's like, you know, it was almost, you know, like the peanut butter and the jelly. Like you want both. So I think that was most likely, I don't remember who it was, but it was one of those things that I constantly heard about. And then when I did commit to Pinterest, and you can all see like 4 or 5 years later, I'm literally a Pinterest coach. It is my second business. It is what I spend most of my time talking about and teaching about. So it did work out. And I think, you know, it goes back to, okay, I want to get serious about Pinterest. Okay, obviously I'm going to get the best scheduler. End of story.
So what made you decide to really take the plunge with Tailwind then compared to the other apps and the other schedulers?
I don't even know if there were any other ones back then. Were there? Like, we're talking like 2018?
Yeah, good question. I know, I mean, there was other ones that did like Pinterest and Facebook, but I mean, not, I meant Instagram and Facebook, but yeah,
there was no one who was like dedicated for Pinterest. And like I said, I decided to be dedicated to Pinterest. So the choice for me was the scheduler that was made for Pinterest, not just because, so I think like that's the difference, is that Tailwind was made for Pinterest marketing. A lot of these other platforms were made for Instagram, or they're made for Facebook and Twitter. And then, oh yeah, PS, we also do Pinterest, right? And to me, like that was the difference, was that I wanted the best for Pinterest. You know, I didn't want it to be the afterthought. I wanted it to be the, you know, foundation of how this, you know, platform worked. And to me, it wasn't even a choice.
Sounds like it fit just like a glove then. You needed
Yeah, it
something
was perfect. It did what I needed it to do, and it still does because I
Pinterest.
still use it.
So when you first started using it, what were your initial thoughts?
What were my initial thoughts? Like, what? I can
4 years ago. Yeah.
because like then you weren't even able to schedule pins on the Pinterest website. Like this is a more recent development. Like, oh, you can schedule pins, but even then it's still just 2 weeks out. So like I'm the type of person where I like to batch everything. I feel like that's the best use of my energy. So the ability to get so much done and get so far ahead, to me, like that was the best selling point. Like even now I've got pins scheduled to like 2035 or something. No, not that far, but like pretty far. So like I loved that. Also, you know, I really loved Tailwind communities. Is such a unique feature. And to me, that's the best part about Tailwind. And like I'm always like, use Tailwind communities, people. You know, like so to me, like those two things, the ability to schedule and even like just like I would say like the relationship I have with Tailwind and like the people who work there, you know, like I feel like you guys are all amazing and I've only ever had like great interactions. So as a user and as like a Pinterest coach who tells others to like use your platform, I think, you know, 5 stars on that.
Thank you. I will relay the message. So how have you seen Tailwind helping your business? I mean, you mentioned communities and the batching, but anything else too?
Yeah, I would say like if we're talking like direct results from using Tailwind, you know, I think the time saver, because I think a lot of us feel overwhelmed. A lot of us feel like, oh my gosh, I can't get ahead. Like, oh my gosh, this is like an endless to-do list. So the, you know, like the time that I've been able to save by using Tailwind in the terms of like getting ahead and batching, like that's invaluable, you know, like I don't like have a day where like I didn't pin, you know, like that doesn't happen for me because everything is taken care of. And you know, that removal of that stress or that panic, which I think a lot of people have when they're using like Instagram, like I didn't post today, like I'm not on Instagram, I didn't like I am on Instagram, but it's like not my go-to. So like I don't have that stress. And you know, being able to have those pins going out, and you know, like I've had viral pins that I've pinned from Tailwind go out, and the traffic, you know, it's that ability to like almost automate, because you know, like my pins go out, people discover my content, you know, they come to my site, so I'm making ad revenue, they join my email list, maybe they buy my planner. So it's like I think it's like the trigger to this whole like cycle of like goodness for my business. And, you know, if we can talk about positive things that have happened from that, heck, I even got offered to like write a book. Like I wrote a book because people found me on Pinterest. So it's like so many amazing things have happened once you can like automate something, once you have a system that is reliable. And you know, my Pinterest workflow or even like my blog / business workflow depends on Tailwind, you know? So
Oh yeah. That reminds me, I wanted to talk to you about your book. So you just mentioned that, but how did that come about? They reached out to you, wanting to write a book about Pinterest. Oh yeah,
no, this one, it's about procrastination. So I think, yeah, the girl, I was like, so how did you guys find me? And they're just like a publishing company that reaches out to people who have never written books before. And they were like, yeah, we found you on Pinterest. We love your blog posts on, you know, like overcoming that overwhelm, that delay. Because I think another issue as to why someone takes so long to start a business is that all that self-doubt, all those questions of like, oh, I should just be happy with my life, but I'm not. Oh, should I do it? You know, like all these like, you know, it's like indecision in a way. And I know that all too well. So yeah, that's how it happened. They found me on Pinterest, and like, I would not have achieved that had I not been using Tailwind. I don't think I would have grown as fast. I don't think I would have even had time to write a book because they gave me 6 weeks to write it. So had things not being handled, there's no way I would have had the time to do it.
What an incredible opportunity and what an incredible career you've had. Like, wow. I mean, I can tell like you are meant to do this. So it's really cool seeing it all work out for you too.
Thanks.
So what would you say is your favorite type of content to create?
Ooh, this is easy. Like seasonal content. Can I say that?
Oh, sure.
Like I am all about the seasonal content, particularly if we're talking about Pinterest, if we're talking about Tailwind. Seasonal content is amazing because one, it keeps things fresh. It's not just you trying to like write about, they say evergreen, I say nevergreen. Don't really make the money from that content. I find seasonal content is really what boosts my traffic and brings me all that sweet ad income from Mediavine, or like boost in sales because more people are seeing my content. So whether you're making videos or your pins for social, for Pinterest, or blog posts or podcast episodes, I guarantee you people are more likely to click, listen, watch, or read if it is directly in tune with what they need right now. And, a trick with Pinterest is that you want to get started early. And with the website limiting you to only being able to schedule 2 weeks in advance, like if you create your content early, you can use Tailwind to have those pins go out when the season is approaching. And, that is how you get that boost in traffic. So to me, hands down, seasonal content is the way to go.
Cool. Oh, that is no one else has ever said that, but what a great, great.
It's like my go-to line. Like I'm like, seasonal content, people. I know it doesn't sound sexy, but I'm telling you, it is amazing.
Oh, that is so awesome. Cool. So I mean, you have done so much with your business. Looking back, what's been your proudest accomplishment?
What has been my proudest accomplishments? I would say like starting the blog, because I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I didn't know where it would go. I didn't know, like, oh, wow, fast forward, like 15,000 email subscribers, making, thousands from ad income on autopilot, like things like that, writing a book. Like, none of that would have happened had I not had the insanity or, the lapse in judgment, whatever we want to call it, to just be like, I'm going to buy this domain and I don't know how to make a blog, but I'm going to figure it out. That little push, that spark, that curiosity, that faith, that whatever leap, whatever you want to call it, to just do it. Right. Because had I not done that, none of this other stuff, would have happened. And yeah, so to me, I would say starting the blog, and also just like where I've grown my Pinterest account too. Like I'm really proud of that. So those are my two things.
Cool. So what is next for you and It's All You Boo?
What's next for me? I don't know. That's a good question. I would love to like get a custom site built for my website. Like I think for that will be my next thing. Hoping to create like a physical planner one day soon and like start doing like physical products, because that's interesting to me. Yeah, so I say like those are the two big things that, and continuing to grow my YouTube channel, because like YouTube's like my new favorite thing. So
Oh,
those
fun.
three things.
Cool. So you're dipping your toes into video marketing.
Yeah, I'm trying video.
Have you been trying the idea pens on Pinterest too?
Yeah, I made a few. I'm not like personally 100%, because it's weird. It's like, because I have two brands, and like with the It's All You Boo, I try to not make myself the face, like, but I think with idea pins, you would probably be most successful when you do show your face. Like I think a lot of those TikTok style videos are doing incredibly well. So yeah, that's kind of where I am on it. I'm just, because not that I would ever sell my blog. I don't, and it's weird. I've been asked to like sell my blog before, and I'm like, it's like, do you want me to sell my firstborn? No. Like, I was like, no. It's so weird, but
I didn't know people did that, but I mean, like, is it a good offer?
I didn't even get to the money, because I was like, no matter what you pay me, I would make more by just holding on to my blog like over time, right? Like,
But what a compliment that they want to buy
like,
it.
oh, someone wants it. Like, no.
Yeah, you worked hard for that.
Right? Oh, never.
Perfect. Well, thank you so, so much. This was a great interview and you have incredible energy. This was awesome. Is there anything else that you want to plug or anything before we?
Yeah, totally. So if my story has inspired you and you would love to have the same success with Pinterest or even Tailwind, dare I say, yeah, check out my YouTube channel. I've got free weekly training on Pinterest, even videos on Tailwind, and you can even sign up for my free Pinterest masterclass so I can help you get more traffic, sales, and subscribers with Pinterest. And yeah, check out my blog. It's allyouBoo.com.